Hello and welcome to the Upgrade School Marketing Podcast, the podcast for busy school marketers. My name is Matt Soul, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications at Chapel Hill Chauncey Hall School.
And I'm Angie Ward. I'm the president of Enroll Media Group, a digital marketing agency for schools.
Hello, Angie. How are you? I heard you've been on the road.
Yes, just got back from ASAP's annual institute in sunny San Diego. So that was a lot of fun. Great to see all the schools there, and there was some great presentations, and I led a Google Analytics 4 workshop. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. And we have, Google Analytics 4, it's happening. When's the date?
July 1st.
July 1st. So, depending on when you're listening to this, it has likely already passed by, but we do have a great short episode that we have on Google Analytics 4, along with a worksheet that I've heard from a few people has been really helpful. So there's a worksheet that Angie put together with Enroll Media Group on just all the must-have and steps through to upgrading. So make sure to check that out. And today we're talking about something different, changing gears a little bit. And we're talking about how to keep your school from being a hidden gem.
Yeah, I think this is a great topic because I've never worked at a school, but I've worked with a lot of marketers, and I've heard firsthand that that's something you just never want to actually hear, that you are a hidden gem, because to them it sometimes is, it means that they're not marketing the school, the program as well as they should be. But I guess it's not as simple as that. So the conversation we have today is about how to help your school stand out, but for the right reasons and to the right people, which I really appreciate. So today we're talking to three marketing and communications professionals at three different schools. So we have Barbara Doyle from the Renbrook School in Connecticut. We have Greg Gilman from Gould Academy in Maine. And we have Cathy Shin from Almaden Country in California. And so I'm really excited about the talk with these three folks today.
Yeah. So if you've ever heard, and I know we just did our parent surveys, and you always see that in there, parents who are happy, which is great. But then you say, I really feel this school is a hidden gem, or we found a needle in the haystack, or whatever the wording is that makes you just kind of, it stings a little bit to say, what they're saying is, it should have been easy for us to know that you existed. So if you've ever heard that, this is a really good talk to hear about other schools that are hearing that and ways that you can make sure that you're standing out to the people who are looking for you. So let's go right into the talk.
Hi guys, thanks so much for joining us today on this episode. And so why don't we just to kick things off, hear from each of you on your name, your title, and what school you work for. Barb?
Good morning. Thanks for having us today. My name is Barb Doyle, and I'm Director of Marketing and Communications at Renbrook School in West Hartford. And we are a preschool through grade 8 day school.
Great. Greg?
Hi, I'm Greg Gilman. I'm the Chief Storyteller and Brand Manager at Gould Academy in Bethel, Maine. I've been here about 16 years now, and thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. Cathy?
Hi, I'm Cathy Shin. I'm from Almaden Country Day School. My title here is Director of Marketing Communications. I've been here about 8 years, and we are a pre-kindergarten to 8 independent country day school in California.
Excellent. Great. Well, thanks again for having us, you guys.
Matt,
let's kick things off.
Let's kick it off. So we are talking today about hidden gems. So I think it's something that even before this podcast idea and everything came together, I thought it was pretty interesting because I've been hearing it for years, and only recently I was at a small boarding school conference, SBSA conference, and that topic came up in a small breakout group of communications people, and they said, give us a raise of hands if your school has been referred to by a parent or a trustee or someone as a hidden gem. And it was across the board, like everybody was kind of shocked that, like, wow, they said that about you all too. So so I think it's a really great thing to talk about, and it's a really great tie-in for marketing and talk about things that we can do to make sure that our school is not hidden. But before we jump into that, I did want to just quickly talk with the group about what that means to be a hidden gem. And in thinking about this, I think there's two things that I've heard in the past, and we've heard a hidden gem as in, everybody should know who you are. We should have across the board, people should like when they're thinking about a boarding school or they're thinking about this, they think about for us Chapel Hill Chauncey Hall School. And over the time, I think, I've sort of thought that that's not the goal. And I'm interested to see what this group thinks. I think the goal is not that there's so many schools, there's so many different things that people are looking for. And it's not to be just top of mind famous to everyone and just you're known across the board. But I think it is more about when someone is looking for something that you do well, that they are able to find you. And to me, I find that the more crucial aspect of being a hidden gem, and feedback that I've heard to say like, oh, wow, we were looking for a supportive school that is just like you. And you didn't show up in the list that our consultant gave us, or you didn't show up in the search that we did here. So again, sorry for the long intro there, but just a lot of thought on just kicking off, like, what does it mean to be a hidden gem and why is that dangerous? So I just wanted to throw that out to this group. And what do you think about when you hear, hidden gem, and what you want to sort of proactively do to not be that?
Yeah, I can jump in. Whenever we hear that, I completely take it as an insult, and I'm glad to hear your definition of it, so that I can frame it in that way when people talk about it now. But I think people bring their own experience and their own anecdotal knowledge of the school to that statement. You're a hidden gem. They don't see that everyone knows us, so they just figure people don't. But really, we're kind of a niche school. We're in a remote location near a mountain in Maine, and we have a very specific audience that we're marketing to. So I don't think everyone needs to know us. We just need the right people to know about us.
Exactly. Great point.
Yeah. I think it makes sense too with digital marketing too, like the long tail, like, you want people to, you can see it really clearly, I think, when you do ads. And Angie, I know you work a lot with like Google Ads, and you could search for boarding school United States, and there's so many people competing for that. It's such a competitive thing. So it's in the ad world, it's going to cost you a lot. But then in the just like search engine world and that, it's just a difficult thing to search for something that broad. So that's where I think that kind of that thought leads to, is like, well, you got to go that next step and say not just that, but boarding school in a certain area, or boarding school or pre-K that specializes in this, or equestrian school for girls that does it. So I think it's really that's where I have the focus then, is to say, well, we really need to make sure it would be great if everybody in the world, like, as soon as they thought of boarding school, they thought of us. Is that realistic? I don't know, but good thing to shoot for. But in the short term, I think it's making sure at least that those things that you're good at and that families are looking for, that you're showing up for.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And we go through that exercise a lot in the schools we work with, and we happen to work with all three of you guys, which is great. But it's often, why do people enroll? I mean, I can look at your website, but we want to hear from you in admissions. Why are people applying, enrolling, and why are they staying? And those questions are key to informing a Google Ads strategy to get into some of those long tail keywords you're referencing, Matt, as opposed to just showing up for everyone. Kathy, did you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I have to agree. It's the right people, the right families with the right philosophical fit that's coming to our school. And we hear it time and time again when we're in family conversations. We're getting to know the prospective families. We ask them, how did you hear about us? What makes you want to come here? What attracts you? And time again, they're reinforcing the content we have on our website. They might not find us for, let's say, like an educational balance, which is what we're known for. It's a balance of joyful learning, character development, and academics. But they come because they're looking for things like social emotional learning. They're looking for, a great independent or private school in the area that also provides a lot of enrichments and electives and opportunities, student life, that it's not just, math and reading and that's it. So when they come to our school and they start to read the content and they realize, hey, this place does everything we think we want. We didn't know we wanted it until we landed on this page. We had an amorphous idea of, this is kind of what we envision our kid to be doing. What kind of education we want them to have. And this website then just fits the bill because it has all the things that we're looking for, but maybe we didn't know the exact search terms for it. They start off, I think, probably pretty broad, and then they narrow down.
It's funny hearing you talk about your school. Like if we appealed to everybody and everyone knew about us, the students who want your school, if they showed up here, they wouldn't be happy. It wouldn't be the right fit. Like we do a lot of experiential learning. We're in the outdoors. It wouldn't resonate with that same crowd. So it's just so important that we find those families that really value outdoor education, leadership, experiential learning, that sort of thing. It's not the same fit. So it doesn't make sense to cast a huge wide net. It really makes sense to focus in. Yeah.
Exactly. That's a great point. Barb, did you have anything to add?
It's very interesting for us at Renbrook because we are the only private school, preschool through grade 8, in the immediate area where there are very, very competent public schools. So that's a real challenge for us, is to how to differentiate what's the value proposition. Why are parents going to pay for a private school education when they can get very good education from their tax dollars already? And it's those things that then we do make stand out. It is the experiential learning. We're on 75 beautiful acres on top of Avon Mountain, but people drive by us every day and don't even know we're there because we are truly hidden. So talk about a hidden gem. So it's the challenge is to get them on campus and for them to then be able to see what it is that we have to offer and the ways that we do that in the experiential learning and all of that. So that's one of our challenges, is to truly say, we're not as hidden as you think you are. We are.
Exactly. And I must say, because Barb, I've been to campus before, I got a tour from you, and it is nestled away. You wouldn't know Renbrook is there and has that beautiful campus if you're just driving through. Unless that's your destination, you can't see it. So that's a great point.
Yeah. The resources are so wonderful. So that's the challenge, right? To get the word out there. And so therefore we need a really strong marketing plan.
Exactly. So let's talk about that. That's a great segue to our next question. We'd love to hear from a couple of you around, any examples you have where you've, cultivated strong relationships with the community or helped your school stand out to the community to help avoid some of that. Hey, I never knew you were here. I never realized this.
Yeah, it's amazing to me listening to Barb talk, because we get that all the time, and we're right near. We're 6 miles from Sunday River Resort. It's a ski resort, snowboard resort in Western Maine, and people drive right by the campus. And our presence at the mountain, like Gould is everywhere at the mountain because there's a weekend program. All of the competitive athletes participate in it, whether or not they're connected to Gould or not. There's Gould on jackets everywhere, Gould on signs, murals, everything, and we still hear, I didn't even know you guys were here. I didn't realize Gould was a school. So it's super validating to me to hear that right in the middle of everything, you're still hearing the same thing. So it doesn't feel like so much of a loss on our end. Like how are people not connecting the dots here? How do they not know? They're driving right by campus. And we always say that's the hardest thing. We're kind of in a remote location, but we're a destination really. And that's what makes us special. We're in the mountains, we're rivers, lakes, that allows us to do the special things that we do. But yeah, getting people to set foot on campus, once they do, that's really what seals the deal. But it's nice to hear from you guys that even in not so remote areas, you're hearing that same thing. So I don't know. I mean, we have as big of a presence as I can imagine. We have a slopeside competition center up at the mountain as well, and people still don't make that connection. So yeah, it's tough, but it is a great partnership. Sunday River is super supportive. They give our athletes like all kinds of advantages and opportunities, and it's a wonderful partnership and pretty much unlike any other partnership between a mountain and a school. And we're not particularly like a ski school. We're really a boarding school first with a strong on snow program, but it's a great partnership for sure.
Yeah, that's great. Cathy, do you have any examples through either like speaker series or things that you're doing there at Almaden to really try to get the word out into the community for those who still aren't aware of all that Almaden has to offer?
Yeah, actually, so we're definitely looking at ways in which our campus just got even more beautiful. We've been remodeling for the last couple of years, added a beautiful facility, full size high school gymnasium, performing arts stage. It's the Fisher Event Center. We're working on upgrading another building in the front of campus. So our campus is just getting more and more rich, and it's exciting because this means we can host events and host workshops. Right now, we have a Orton Gillingham workshop happening all week. It's a training workshop, a certification for educators all around the South Bay area in California. Coming up in a couple of weeks, or about a month actually, we have a series of positive discipline workshops that'll be led by lead trainer Cathy Kawakami on campus as well. Again, it's all for the local South Bay areas if you're an educator, coach, or trainer. But she's also going to be offering them for parents all around. And then earlier this fall, our head of school published a book, in conjunction with one of our Bay Area leading family therapists, Sherry Glukoff Wong, and we were able to invite our entire community to that as well, reaching out to Facebook neighborhood parent groups, our local neighborhood parent organizations, as well as nextdoor.com. Just, really getting the word out that, if you're in need of some parenting hugs and advice, this book is going to really help you with that, and come over for a free event. So we've been really taking advantage of our facilities, and also we're nestled in a residential neighborhood with lots of like Barb, lots of really great public schools as well. And it is definitely interesting because even though we share, I think, a fence line with a local park, people don't put the two and two together that this is our school campus. So, so it's kind of cool to hear that even though despite our different geographical differences, that we still kind of encounter the same sort of problems or issues or challenges, I should say. Yeah.
We at Chapel Hill, one of the things, and like we always in missions events, we have so many things that we're always like focused on bringing people in, but they're people who are looking like really directly in enrolling. And one of the things we've wanted to do more and more is just to have people on campus, like everyone is saying, just to have people on campus. So that's been something I'd be interested to hear if there's any other ideas on just bringing people to campus locally. But one thing that worked well for us in the past year was we have a new art center that we built that's really great for events. And we've been partnering up with local charities and letting them come to host their charity events here, which our students are at helping. Their people are coming onto campus and seeing this. So they're getting to be here, getting to meet some people. And it's definitely, you could feel like immediately how great it was for everybody just to be able for them to be here and say, wow, I've never actually stepped foot on campus. I've driven by, 1,000 times. And for our students to be a part of something that is outside of the school and helping out. So I don't know if there are any other ideas on just outside of admissions, bringing people in. Yeah.
So we also, in our rich resources on campus, we have several things. We have a brand new turf field. We also have the only high ropes challenge course at a school in New England. And then also our summer camp program, which is huge and so rich. So that integrating all of those things and those opportunities to bring people on campus to utilize those facilities. And we have 2 gymnasiums as well, and we've opened the doors to those kinds of things. Because again, once somebody steps foot on campus, that they see so much more and they experience so much more. So that's another way that we've been doing that, and very intentionally, as director of marketing and as a member of the leadership team, meeting with the leaders of those other programs to make sure that we're integrating those in such a way that it makes sense that we're attracting the right kinds of people as well.
Right.
So
Exactly.
not for everybody. So
Go ahead, Cathy.
To your point, Barb, I think one of the reasons why we were so excited about offering summer camps, we are not new to offering summer camps, but this is only really our first full-fledged second year of offering it to our entire community. Our first 5 years or so of offering summer camps seemed to be really geared toward our immediate parent community, to provide that sort of, support and fun for the children on a campus that they already know with teachers they love. But this year, these last couple of years, we've really invested in growing the summer camp program. We have over 70 from all pre-K to 8th grade, ranging from speech and debate to robotics to coding, nature, sports. There's something for everybody, makerspace. It's really been a great way. We're seeing a growth. I think last year we saw maybe about 15% of our community have joined our camps in relation to our current community. And this year we're definitely seeing an uptick to closer to 20%. So, we're really excited about seeing that, because I think it's, again, another way to get people onto our beautiful campus and understanding that we're here, and they get to be with a lot of our current teachers and faculty and campus and curriculum, so that it's, if they're interested in what we do and get that flavor, then they might, turn around and go, maybe this is a school for me. That's the goal anyway.
Exactly.
So in all this too, I think it, just in hearing all the different ideas and initiatives there, but I think it all comes back to reputation. So you want a strong reputation for what you do. And I know that for me has centered a lot around storytelling and getting people, students, teachers, parents talking about the value they're getting, the outcomes they're getting out of being in your school community. So I wanted to talk, ask out to the group, how is storytelling played into how you're building your reputation for your school? Yeah, Barb.
I think it's essential, and we've spent a lot of time on this over the last years. We're in the process of rebuilding our website. I'm working with a friend of some of yours, Tara Clays of Design TLC, and we're going for a WordPress site, which is really, really exciting and giving us more flexibility. The process that we've gone through over the last 2 years to get ready to do this has been very much focused on this storytelling and consistency in that. And I think that two things play into that for us. We have spent a lot of time with focus groups, including parents, both current and past, trustees, faculty, students themselves, and our academic leaders in the school, to really identify what are our four main pillars. What do we really, really stand out for, so that we can all say that very consistently. And really, I think, to hammer home that idea that every single member of the community is an ambassador of the school, whether you're a parent, a student, a teacher, an admission, officer, it doesn't matter. Everybody, if we're telling the same story about the school, that's a really consistent and important story to tell. So we've worked a lot on that. And as we launch this website in August, I think a lot of that work that we've been doing for the last 2 years will really come together on this. We're doing it not only on the website, but in our social media, across our blogging efforts, our LinkedIn, everything, really trying to be very consistent and very intentional about what do we offer? What are the four things that really make us truly different and worth the tuition cost?
When the site's done, make sure to share it. We can promote it out there, get everybody looking at it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Greg, you had something there too.
I'm just curious, what are those four things you guys identified? What did it come down to?
So you put me on the spot there, Greg, right?
Yeah, sorry.
So developing leaders, intentional community, the whole relationships, all of that, academic rigor, and our amazing campus, our resources that we have to offer children. So those are the four that we've landed on. And the story that we tell around that, we've become, very focused on what that means. And even at our return to school this year with our faculty in August, we'll be doing some training around that, around delivering that message the same way.
Love it. That's great.
It's great.
And
yeah.
Greg, I know you're big into storytelling. What do you want to share?
For sure. Like I had a title change this year. I worked in communications for a long time. And this year my title changed to chief storyteller and brand manager. And so we just wanted to be more deliberate with telling stories and telling kind of long form stories. And then we found that there's a lot of different ways we can share those stories. We can share them through, admissions emails that go out to prospective families. We can share them on social media. We can share them on LinkedIn. We've been using them for development campaigns, talking about experiential learning. But overall, I just think it gives a voice to the school, and it kind of what I'm excited to do is I always just say I want to shine a light on what's happening. There's great programs. Let's just shine a light on it and let them kind of speak for themselves. And hearing that student voice, hearing the faculty voice, seeing those relationships, that's what makes the place special. And so we're just trying to highlight that stuff. And I think one thing that we're talking about hidden gems, and a program that might be a hidden gem here, we have the 4-point program, where it's kind of it's a signature program that goes throughout their whole experience. But the final piece, the senior 4-point, is an independent project. And it's something we haven't talked a lot about in the past. I think because a lot of that work happens off campus. The kids do internships, they do it over the summer, but it's really a great way to kind of the culmination of all of that work. And it's who these kids have become, and they're curious learners, and it's intrinsically motivated. And I don't know why we haven't been highlighting it more, but we have some remarkable stories, and that's one that I'm really eager to get out there, because people always ask, what do your graduates do? And I want to just say, no, don't ask what our students do. They're already doing amazing things. We have a kid that, started a school in China for children of warehouse workers who are displaced. We had a kid that's setting up water quality stations all around the state, trying to protect brook trout populations. We have a young woman who was studying addiction treatment and shadowing doctors. Like, these kids are doing amazing things. And if that's the product to me, so if we can tell that story, I think it's a huge win.
Yeah, I love that. And Greg, actually, the 4-point program there is actually what gave Matt and I the inspiration for this episode, because I said, I was talking to a client and they have these amazing programs, and Greg, you were like, this shouldn't be something they learn about on a tour. They need to know about this when they get to our website right away, when they see us on social media. You don't want to wait for the tour to give all your goods away. Like, that should be front and center. So
yeah, but some of it we suffer from a curse of knowledge, and we think like, oh, everyone knows about Junior 4-point. It's a 10-day adventure in winter camping. And every kid dreads it. And then every kid, it's the best experience of their life. And we feel like everyone knows it, but they don't. So, it's for us, we send those kids out with cameras. And I went out with a group this year and got some really nice marketing photos, but really the authentic photos that they come back with from like day 8, when they're, a little squirrely and have been out in the woods for a little too long. Like, those are the things that really show that program. For sure.
That's great.
I think that's the stuff that's memorable too. So, we went through, we were recreating our view book last summer, and we did, a lot of like marketing research and tooling all of our language. And some of it was a lot of research on other schools. So we did a whole bunch of other schools and pulled, what are they saying? What are their taglines? What is their pillars? What is all that? And a lot of that stuff can, especially when you see it all in one place, and you think about, that's how a family's seeing it when they're researching a few different schools. They're jumping from here to here to here to here. A lot of that sometimes can just like blend together into hearing small classes and a tight-knit community. And and to me, like, when you're talking about, what your alumni are doing and starting this business that they're passionate about and doing, like, that's the stuff, as we were doing that process, that stood out to say like, oh, that's the school that had that student that did this thing. And then they did that. Like, those individual things help, I think, really, when you're talking about reputation and just having things that stick in people's minds, that helps you stand out and be memorable in a lot of ways. And it's more genuine too, because you're hearing it from actual people talk. It's not, marketing language that is carefully crafted and all of that. It's people talking about what they are doing right now and what the school gave them. And it's genuine in that way too.
It's authentic, and it's substance over style. And like, we, in this office, we take really great pictures and we tell really nice stories, but then we're humbled and reminded often that like our most popular posts of the year will be something that was submitted that has a thumb in the corner, and it's, the backs of people's heads. It's not what you think is going to resonate, but it becomes the most popular post of the year because of where they are and what they're doing.
Exactly. Kathy, you had something there.
I'm reminded by a little bit about what both of you are talking about, which is so storytelling for us, we've, I think, nailed down over the last few years, particularly around our rebrand, and it's so important to get the language consistent across all constituencies. So Barb, you're totally, on the right track. I think that's going to really help. It's certainly helped us as we think about everybody talking to a prospective family, whether you're at a grocery store, whether you're a teacher and you're, talking in your classroom, getting that language right. And one of the things that we were looking at is how do we do it on our website? And we do, I thought we did a fairly good job, but looking at it again with the lens of somebody who's there on your site for maybe 2 minutes tops, how are they getting all this messaging? It's really text heavy. It's really deep. How can we get them this information, serve it up in a more concise, quick, and visually attractive manner? So I think also storytelling comes in the form of how, not just what's in it, but how do we serve it up? And in social media, you're kind of constrained already. It's visual, it's short, right? But on a website, it's a little dangerous because you got this canvas where you can kind of go nuts. And reevaluating our website, we did a lot of restructuring on it to make it a lot flatter. You don't have to go as far, and you just at a glance you can see the breadth of the programming, all the enrichments and electives, student life, experiential learning, field trips. Just what is it that my kid will get if I sign them up to be at Almaden Country Day School? They can get that in 2 minutes flat, and that was the goal all along. And I think that was a really powerful lesson for us.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's great. So we've talked a bit about, obviously the website's a great channel for marketing and getting out all of this information that's so valuable to families. But what other platforms are you guys finding really successful in getting the word out? Barb?
So this is a plug and not asked for. So this is a very authentic plug, but Enroll Media Group has been an absolute gem for us this past year. We started our work with Angie last August. Our numbers have been absolutely amazing. We have, I believe that admissions said the other day that we have 70 plus new kids coming in next year. Just a tremendous year for us. So the Google ads and I think Google overall has been the highest, and then Facebook as well. But just having a really good, solid digital media partner, I think, is one of the most essential things you can possibly do in this day and age. And I'm so grateful to Angie and her team for having walked us through that and brought us to such success with that. So
thank
you
you.
Didn't ask for that, Angie, but I'd absolutely plug that.
Nice work, Angie.
Thank you guys.
I'll make sure we don't cut that out. We won't cut that out of the
that'll be the highlight
final
reel.
one. We'll keep that. Yeah.
Perfect.
So what else are you guys seeing aside from paid media and advertising? Are you guys seeing anything on TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn? What other kind of marketing platforms are you guys seeing success with? Cathy?
I'll echo what Barb said. We work with EMG and has this is just completing our second year almost, and it has been nothing but stellar. We're just seeing incredible numbers for both open houses and overall conversions to applications. And one of the things that we worked really hard on is both, we had search engine marketing, but we also working on just organic search, and optimizing keywords throughout the site. And something new we tried this year was mobile location targeting. I just thought that was really interesting because it's something fairly new to me. I've seen other businesses use it, but I didn't think for a school, is it really for us? But we gave it a try, and I think what we're seeing is just a great number of impressions. People are definitely seeing our ad based on where they are located, where we are targeting, and we're targeting places that are that we think families are going to. Whether it's your local library or community center, and we think, okay, if you're there, you might be a family that might be interested in the fact that we're close by, and this is a place you frequent. frequent, then, you might be interested to know that we exist. We're not hidden. We're right here. So it has been really cool. And another thing that we're doing is to highlight our one of our programs here is called the Learning Center. And our Learning Center is one of only, I think, South Bay Area's programs for teaching children with dyslexia and other learning differences that are not, that's an integrated program. And so they, one of the ways we used MLT was to try to find places where people might be getting evaluations or neuropsychs or having or going to tutoring centers for this to get additional support for their children, to know that we exist if you're looking for a place that can work with your child with dyslexia. And but also if you have a child who doesn't, you can have them all in one place and not have to be in two different schools.
That's great. Great ideas. Greg, did you have any favorites you wanted to throw out there in terms of platforms that are working well for Gould?
Yeah, I mean, I give a shout out to EMG as well. We've done a lot of targeting at ski resorts and things like that to try to combat that, the problem that people don't know where school right here by the mountains. And it's a small community overall in the comp snow world. So that's helped a lot. One other thing that we do, and I think we need to really kind of hone in on it, and we just really started doing it, and this is something we did years ago, and now we're kind of getting back to it with storytelling, is using constant contact for kind of a drip campaign and trying to get those stories out to prospective families. And I think we could segment it a little bit and maybe like, oh, this kid has identified themselves as interested in the makerspace or science research. We have these stories here. Like this year, we've kind of just been throwing all the stories out, everything I've been covering. I think we want to get a little more intentional with it, but I think it's a nice tool. You can see your open rates and click-throughs and things like that. So I enjoy using that just because you get that immediate feedback if people are engaged or not.
Yeah, email is key.
If I can follow up to that, Angie, what we're using and just started around the same time last year that we started with Angie is Inquiry Tracker, which is very specific to independent schools. I don't know if anyone else is familiar with that, but they're very specific to independent schools. They're an email automation platform and tracker for, organizing your inquiries. And we have not utilized that to the best of our abilities yet. I think we're still in our infancy stages, but that whole drip campaign and really categorizing people and doing good, solid follow-up and not letting anybody fall through the cracks because you've just had them on a spreadsheet somewhere. So, really utilizing some of these amazing programs that are out there to, I think that we probably all deal with this as marketing and communications people. We tend to be very small, under-resourced departments. And so your vendor relationships are absolutely key to your success. So, utilizing that, I'll throw in one more thing that has been so tremendously successful for us in this area. I'm a commissioner on the Commission for School Advancement for the Connecticut Association of Independent Schools. And we have started up in the last 2 years. We have really made a huge effort to get our marketing and admission and development roundtables going again. And the marketing roundtable has been so successful. People from all over the state, we come together twice a month on Zoom for an hour. We share, we treat each other as colleagues and friends, as opposed to competitors. And I have learned so much from these people that I'm so grateful for that. And there's so many resources out there, but as individuals, we don't have the time to dig in and find them all. But as a collective group, boy, there's power in that. So if you don't have something like that in your area, I would highly recommend you talk to one of your local, associations to see if they can help you to put that together. But that has been tremendously powerful for us.
Yeah. And I had a couple to add too, that when you mentioned Inquiry Tracker too, the talk we had with them on the podcast a little while ago, we one of the things that they had found in looking at what people are actually signing up for on school sites was all events. They said everything's events. It's, people are not looking to fill out just a kind of ambiguous inquiry form, but they want to sign up for something. So we really took that and ran with it just from that talk, and always have we're having an in-person and a virtual event. They're low key. We're having coffees, like come and have coffee with the head of school. We have a rotating series of virtual events that are, some are just very big overviews of the school, but you can immediately see just not only the registrations in those, but just having something physical to push other than just like, here's who we are, here's who we are, here's who we are, saying, come and do this. There's a lot of people who don't sign up for it, but because we're promoting this coffee, it triggers them to then book a tour or reach out to admission. So I would say that's one thing in the recent side that we've seen is just always having upcoming events and always having things to promote. And on all of our external calendars, whether it's on Niche or, EMA calendars and our own calendars, that's been great. And one sort of old school initiative going away from the digital world is we have what we call in marketing feeder schools, but schools that we get a lot of students from. And that was a challenge that we had to say, how do we intentionally reach out to these feeder schools so these families know who we are and do this? And what we came up with was, what do they want from us? Like they get open house information from schools, they get all of this, but what do they want? And we really came back to like, they want to hear how their kids that they sent from their school are doing. Because once in a while we get an update from a college to say, hey, your graduate did here. And we're all so excited to hear like, oh, this kid who came here is doing so great there. It's like, what can we do that backwards? Can we do that to these schools? And so what we did is pretty simple. And we just made physical posters that had photos of graduates of that feeder school and then a quote that had how they're doing. And admissions went around and delivered those to the admissions office, and they were getting, admissions offices and heads of school crying. They were crying as they were delivering them. They were getting teary seeing, these people who graduated like doing so well. And then we're able to see now, sort of results and people from those schools now, those are hanging in the halls there and them coming up and doing that. So just, there's one thing I think, pass on to everybody that was a really great feel good one as well. And it tied in the storytelling and all of that as well, just into one really thing.
Exactly. I love that. So many great tips there and working with admissions, and all of you have had so many great ideas. Thank you so much for sharing these stories and offering some of these tips to our listeners. I know this is going to be a very valuable lesson for marketing and admissions professionals out there. So thank you again so much, Barb, Cathy, and Greg, for joining us today. And take care and be well. And again, thank you so much, and keep up the great work that you guys are all doing for your schools. All right. That was a great conversation with Barb Doyle, Greg Gilman, and Cathy Shin. Thank you three so much for coming on today.
Yeah. And tons of info there. But I know it's a topic that is different to every school, and people have done a lot of different things. So one thing we did want to reach out to is, we're on LinkedIn, and this will be posted there, but we'd love to hear any schools that have done something else. If you've been called a hidden gem, and you have some way that you have worked to combat that and to make sure that you're known and your programs are known and the people who you're trying to reach are finding you, anything you found success in, we'd love to hear. Like, we all grow together. And so if you have something that you've either seen another school do or you've done yourself, please let us know on LinkedIn so we can share it with others. Yeah, we love hearing from other schools and school marketers. And speaking of not being a hidden gem, we're really proud of the Inley School here in Massachusetts. They had a record summer camp open house. They really went full throttle on a holistic digital marketing campaign, including search ads, mobile location targeting, great organic and paid Facebook ads. And so they did a great job. So we just wanted to give an A+ shout out to the Inley School this episode. That's great. Yeah. And as always, if you have any topic ideas you'd like to hear from us, please reach out to upgradeschoolmarketing.com or to us on LinkedIn, and we will see you next time.